When you think of a haunted object, you might picture some ancient, creepy-looking thing. But what if the most terrifying object in the world looked like a child's plaything? Today, we're getting into the truly disturbing story of the Annabelle doll, a case that's become legendary for a reason. So, what are we really looking at here? Is this just a simple doll that got caught up in some kind of bizarre series of events? Or is it something else entirely? A vessel for a truly demonic soul? That is the question at the core of this whole thing. And trust me, the answer is not what you'd expect.
So where does a story like this even begin? Well, it doesn't start in some dark, spooky castle. It starts in the most ordinary way possible, with a simple gift.
It all kicks off in 1970. A nursing student named Donna gets a present from her mom, a Raggedy Ann doll. And I mean, look at it. It's a cloth doll with a simple, kind of goofy smiling face. There's absolutely nothing scary about it. It's the kind of thing you wouldn't look at twice. Or so you'd think.
But that sense of normalcy, well, that didn't last long at all. Pretty soon, strange things started happening around the apartment, and the doll was always, somehow, at the center of it.
At first, it was subtle stuff you could almost ignore. Donna and her roommate Angie would leave the doll on the bed, and they'd come home to find it sitting on the sofa. Okay, weird, but maybe one of them moved it and forgot. Then it was on the bed with its legs crossed, and then they started finding it in totally different rooms. Now how do you explain that?
And then, things took a turn. A really, really weird turn. Little notes started showing up. And get this, they were written on parchment paper, which neither of the girls even owned. The writing looked like a little kid's scrawl, and the messages were just unsettling. Help us, and then even more specific. Help Lou. This wasn't just a doll moving around anymore. Something was trying to communicate.
Okay, so at this point, you have to imagine they were completely freaked out. I mean, what do you even do in that situation? They decided they needed help, so they called in a psychic medium to figure out what or who was sharing their apartment.
And the medium came back with an answer that sounded, well, kind of sad, but it made sense. She told them that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a 6-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins. Suddenly, the childlike handwriting, the doll moving around, it all seemed to click into place. So this spirit, through the medium, basically pleaded with them. It just wanted to be loved, to stay with them. And Donna and Angie, feeling sorry for this poor, lost little girl's spirit, did something that would change everything. They gave it permission to stay in the doll. And folks, that was a huge mistake. Because the moment they gave that permission, the entity that had been hiding behind the face of a sweet little girl, well, the mask came off. And they were about to see its true, terrifying face.
And that true face was violent. It targeted their friend Lou, who had always been suspicious of the doll. One night, he wakes from a dead sleep with that awful feeling that someone is staring at him. Then, bam! A sudden burning pain on his chest. He looks down, and there are these deep, bloody scratches, like claw marks.
And what did Lou say he saw in that moment, right before the attack? He saw Annabelle. And then everything just went dark. This was it. This was the first time it had gotten physical. There was no denying it anymore. This thing was malicious. A physical attack changes everything, right? This wasn't just spooky anymore. This was dangerous. They knew they were in way over their heads. So they reached out to a priest who called in the heavy hitters, the most famous paranormal investigators on the planet, Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens took one look at the situation, and their conclusion was immediate and a whole lot scarier than a little girl's ghost. They said this was not a human spirit. It was a non-human, demonic entity. And the doll? It wasn't possessed. It was just a conduit, a puppet. The entity's real goal was to manipulate them until it could eventually possess a living human being. The Warrens knew exactly how dangerous this was. They didn't mess around. An exorcism was performed to cleanse the apartment, and they took the doll with them. The only way to deal with this, they said, was to get it out of there and lock it down. And when I say lock it down, I mean it. They had a special glass case built, blessed by a priest, specifically to contain this doll. And that warning sign? Yeah, that's not for show. It's a very real warning about what they believe is locked inside. But here's the really creepy part. Did locking it in a box end the story? Not even close. The doll sits in the Warrens' occult museum to this day, and the terror, allegedly, is far from over. There are plenty of stories, but this one is just bone-chilling. Apparently, a young man visiting the museum was mocking the doll, tapping on the glass, daring it to do something. The story goes that he was killed in a motorcycle accident just hours later.
So after all this, what does this thing actually want? According to the Warrens, the answer is horrifyingly simple. The doll is nothing. It's just an object. But the entity attached to it, it only wants one thing: a human soul.
And that's the thing about the Annabelle story. It's a chilling reminder that evil doesn't always look evil. Sometimes the most dangerous things in the world are the ones that look the most innocent.